All right, we are here at my VermiHut indoor worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we did some Urban Legend feeding. And what we're going to do now is just kind of check up on that. We're also going to give the last feeding to this top tray before we do our big rotation and harvest another tray within this VermiHut. So let me get this off, and let's go ahead and dive in and see how everything did. And there are lots of worms on top here, so they are certainly active. And I think over here we had some citrus. We had a big cucumber sickle full of ice and water right here in the center. And underneath that was a piece of toast and a little pancake. And over here was the potato. I am really interested to see how that whole potato did. It was one that was in my son's refrigerator for a while, so I froze it. It had rotted, and I froze it, and then we put it in here. Now, it has been 10 days since we were in here, and I would lift the lid and check to see if I smelt anything, because in general, worm bins do not smell unless you overfeed them or get them out of their parameters. And I can see that we still have some of the potato there. So let's dig under and see how it's doing, because I really do not want to smell a rotted potato. It's one of the worst smells, I think. So let me go ahead and go underneath, and oh my gosh, they are all over it, and they were down here too. Now, I'm not smelling anything, so I think what has happened is the worms have eaten all the rotten parts of it, so we're not smelling anything foul right there. There does seem to be some girth in here, so I don't know. They're all on the outside. Maybe they had some trouble getting in, so let me help break it open for them, and hopefully I'm not going to smell anything nasty in here. But yeah, right in there, they need to be getting into there, so... Again, it looks brown and nasty, but my nose is probably maybe a foot and a half away from it, and I don't smell anything. So this is something that we are going to bury within there. So they are taking a while to get to that potato. You know what? And right there, I'm starting to smell a little bit of a whiff. So maybe I should have cut it in half so they could get deeper inside of it. Let me go ahead and see how many worms are right under here. Certainly they were trying to get to it. Yep, lots of worms. Lots of worms. That is fantastic. And there's that mango seed was right under there. Let's kind of open it up and see. And yep, sure enough, right in that mango seed, lots of worms there too. Babies and all kinds of them. All right, let's go ahead and dig kind of towards the middle. That was where the cucumber was. It was put on top of everything. And under here is some citrus. Now, like I said, it's been 10 days, so I don't expect them to have gotten through everything, but they certainly have eaten parts of it. And this right here is kind of a gourd that we've had in here for a while, taking a while on that. But yeah, look at that. They have started to eat the citrus. So you can clearly see that worms like citrus. They are all around it. And this right here is probably the skin of the cucumber. And the bin actually has kind of a nice citrusy smell right now. And they're eating it. So they're definitely not avoiding it. So you can certainly put citrus in your bin and they will eat it. Again, in moderation. You don't want to put too much of one food in your bin. Like this right here, this potato, certainly that was way too much food for them. So I probably should have put in maybe a third of that potato and maybe they would have eaten the whole thing. Let's go ahead and see if we see any of the toast or that pancake in this bedding and stuff right here. I'm not seeing it anywhere. We've got an avocado pit right here, but I'm not seeing it. Let's see if there's anything over here on this side. And yep, just a bunch of worms. This looks to me like an avocado skin that they're still working on. But certainly there's tons of worms in that feeding zone area, and they are definitely going for it. If they were repelled by citrus, they wouldn't be all in it. You can even see like the individual, like kind of, I don't know, almost like they taken bites out of it right there. So that definitely dispels the urban legend. The potato, I think we can say that you can feed potatoes, just maybe not a whole lot. And certainly you don't want to put a raw potato in there. It may grow. You really want to put something in that's been frozen or cooked, or maybe cooked then frozen. So I think we have dispelled all those urban legends that we were looking at, and the bin is doing fantastic. What we're going to do is feed it one last time, and then in about 8 to 10 days, we are going to rotate these trays. Let's see if there's going to be a little worm ball here in this avocado skin. Yep, Sure enough, for some reason, worms just love hiding out in the shell of an avocado. And look at that tiny little worm ball. And I mean, that is just solid right there. Here's a little bit of castings, but right in there, all kinds of nice worms. Very excited about that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna aerate the bin, mix everything up, and then set up our feeding zone. So as I'm aerating, just some observations I'm making. There's a lot of castings in here. We've done a good job of putting a lot of bedding, a lot of food in here to fill this up. Now, there are about 6,000 worms in here, so very easy for me to, come in here and feed a lot. And so far, this has gotten 4 feedings in the last 52 days. Today is gonna be our 5th, but they're gonna have about 68 days or so in order to eat all that food before we harvest this tray. What's gonna happen is this tray is gonna go underneath and we are going to let them forage and eat everything up in it for 60 days, and then we'll have some great castings to harvest. Let me go ahead and put down some bedding and we'll be ready to go. So first thing we'll do is we'll put down some shredded cardboard, and that is to help absorb any kind of liquid that might drip down out of the food, and the worms eventually eat all the bedding that we place into our bins. Next, we're going to put our old food in. So here's our old potato that I've opened up. And the executive producer said when I was manipulating it, there were some worms inside the potato on her side that I didn't see. So I know that the worms are going to continue to eat this. And then we'll put in all the other stuff, some of the citrus, the mango seed, the avocado, and then this weird gourd thing with the like stem right there. I think that's going to make it through. Oh, look at that. We got a tiny worm inside that pumpkin stem or gourd stem, whatever this thing is. And then there we go. Now we will set up to put our feeding in. So here's what we had in mind to feed, but we're not going to put all of this in. What I'm going to try and do is give them an assortment of slow and fast foods. So we've got a lettuce stalk, we've got a pepper, we'll throw in some tomatoes, strawberry tops, those. A bit more lettuce stalk right there. I let some lettuce go to seed. So when the lettuce grows up tall, the leaves kind of get bitter, so we didn't eat all of it. So that was a lot of fast food, but we're also going to put in this banana peel, which is a slow food. So I think that'll probably do it for our feeding, and let's add our amendments in. So first thing we'll put in is just some worm chow, and it's just some expired grains from my pantry that I blend up in my Magic Bullet blender and then put it in our worm bin. And it's just another food source and a way for me to get rid of expired stuff that would normally go in the garbage. Next, we're going to put in some coffee grounds, but one of the things I want to show you is I just collect my coffee and put it in here as we drink it. And what happens is some mold kind of collects in it and it almost globs up, and then it forms these clumps, and you can see there is mold all in there. So that is going to be great for the worm bin. And there you go, there's a little bit more. So I'll just dump this in here. Now, I said I'm going to dump it in there, but I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in here. You'd never want to put that much coffee into a worm bin. All right, and then we'll put in some of our grit, which is just pulverized eggshells. And the worms have a gizzard, so they use the grit to kind of grind up their food and make it smaller so they can digest it in their stomachs. All right, so now that we've given them their last feeding, we'll go ahead and bury it up. And we are not going to check on this feeding because, like I said, we're going to rotate next time. And I'm not going to disturb this bin at all. We're just going to put it underneath. And we will see next time we rotate and harvest this tray, which will be in a couple months, how much of this food they have eaten. I bet the only thing that's going to be around is maybe that banana stalk right there. So we'll go ahead and put this like this, and we will throw on our newspaper, and we will be done with this tray being the top active feeding tray. So I hope this video has helped you to be confident about some of those urban legends that we hear about not putting in our bins. We had that citrus that did just fine. We got the potato that they're starting to eat, and they totally demolished the toast and pancakes. So again, moderation, just putting a little bit in your worm bin is the key to something like that. Again, 6,000 worms, a lot of food goes into my worm bins. If you only have 1,500 worms, you really need to cut down your feedings to something much smaller than what you see in here. So I hope you're having a good day. I hope your worm bins are doing well. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.